Part 2 of the VQ Models Hellcat build is the wing sections. Part 1 reinstalled the motor. I've already, as you can see, taken the plastic off the wing center section and outboard sections. The next step would be the landing gear install, but I'm going to install the electric retracts because I have not ordered yet. Motion RC has the same retracts, about a half price of what you can get at VQ Models, but since I have not ordered those yet, I will start with the flaps in the center section, installing the servos for the wing flaps and ailerons. Should be pretty straightforward. Depending on what instructions you read, either the manual itself or online, it does call for the mini or micro servos rather for the flaps, which I have taken from a previous model that I had. I'll clean these up, but the instructions call for mini servos for the ailerons, which I do not want to do, but it looks like the opening is big enough for standard servo, which is what I'll do. So 4 micro servos and then the 2 aileron servos will install. So let me clean these up and then we'll get to the install. Well, I ran into a little snag. The mini or micro servos came from another airplane. I don't remember which. I think it was a Spitfire that got shot down. So those were mounted in the plane with 2-sided tape, and the grommets I do not have. I had grommets for regular servos. I tried to modify it to get those to fit, but it just didn't fit the way I wanted. So I'm going to have to order some grommets. I did cut out the access, or the holes on top of the center section to run the servo leads through. And I'm also finding these are just a tad bit too small, so I'm going to have to trim these up just a little bit, make some widen them up a little bit to make some room for the servos. So I'll get those grommets in order, probably new eyelets as well, and continue on with what I can. Alright, I have the center wing flat servos in place, plus the outer wing servos in place. Ran the leads through. They're just trimmed it up. They're still kind of a tight fit, but that's okay. They're just temporarily in place, not screwed in yet. And then I have them coming out the center. This was a little tricky to get the leads down, but I had to tip it up, tip it long ways like this, then drop the leads down to where the almost came out to the hole that I have a wire I went in and grabbed them with. I'll do the aileron servos next, which this has in place a string to tie on to pull the lead through. And then the control horns or servo horns, these would be next. But I think that might wait till once I get the radio set up. So that way make sure all the servos are going in the right direction. I'm probably going to have to put a Y harness on each of the servo or each of the leads. One will go into the flaps. Then I'll have to mix another channel to the flaps. So it looks like the aileron servos will fit in their hole or their slot, no problem. The servo lead, I'll have to add, obviously, a extension to it to come out the access holes here. But looking at the instructions, it doesn't say squat about running the servo leads from the outer wings through the center wing. Try to get this light. I'm thinking I'm going to have to come down behind the wheel well, either the front or the back. If you can see in there, or possibly here, or even maybe down below it, and then bring the wire up to the front or back so it's not visible from here. So I'm not sure how this is going to work out. There's no access, it doesn't look like, from up here. So it looks like it has to come from the back section here. I'll probably get the a long lead, run it through here first, and then connect it to the servo leads for the aileron and flap. I have the aileron in place. It's not screwed in yet. What I did, well, these guys barely gave enough string to tie off to the servo lead. I did add an extension just to get the lead through the wing and enough out of the wing where I can replace it with whatever I'm going to run in the center section. So I basically broke off the end, pulled up what I could through, tied it to the lead, and fed it down through and out the side. So I'll do the same process for this side. Then I'll need to figure out what I'm going to do for the leads, connecting the center and the outer wings. Once they're joined, I'm thinking these might be, I think these might be too short. I'm thinking I might have to go with these extra longer ones, which will be fine. And then for the Y harness, if I need the Y harness, I do have some Y harnesses, and I did find I have a couple of these. I don't remember what I use these or if I use these. You can connect two leads into here, acting like a Y harness, but without the Y. So I have various of these Y harnesses and other connectors. So we'll continue on with the other side. Alright, I have the second servo in, aileron servo, the other side. Same process. Probably should have filmed this one. But basically, again, put the longer lead on, extension lead, to make it longer. Tie it off the pull string they had, pulled it through, and here it is. I just need to figure out, again, how to connect the two, what leads to use, how to run them in through the center section. And I think that will call for today. Wait, there's more. Before I close up for tonight, I thought I'd try to run the leads to the center wing, and it was more uneventful than I thought it was going to be. I have it taped off so they don't fall back into the center section. But I basically just ran the leads down just above the wheel well all the way through till it got down to the center opening, the hole here. And then once it got down there, I grabbed it with a wire with a hook on it, pulled it up, and we're good to go. I did one long one and a shorter one. The shorter one will be for the flaps. The longer one will be for the ailerons on both sides. This flap, actually this aileron, will be on the short lead on this side. I'll take this extension off, connect the two when it's ready to go together. And I have these, I used to when I join, put extensions on, I used to do heat shrink. But now I have these servo clips, or end clips, wire clips, whatever you want to call them. Once they are together, I can do this with one hand. Once they're together, you know, they'll lock it in place. Once I get them, I'll show you better, but these are much easier than having the heat shrink. Alright, now I'm done. But I think the next step would be, obviously, I can screw these in, and the next step is to join the wings. I'm not sure if I want to do that yet until I get the servo grommets in, but I don't think it will hurt putting them together. The grommets I ordered came in sooner than what the order said, so I will add the grommets to the flap servos, the micro servos. I think they are a little bit big. The eyelets, they usually go in the grommet, really doesn't fit well, so I think I'll try without the eyelet, which I think will be fine. So I will mount the 4 servos for the flaps, and then I will mount put screws in for the ailerons. I did order the retracts. They will be in around the 14th or so, and I ordered a receiver that should be in about a week. On the leads coming out, once I get everything together, I will take these wires and put them in behind or in front of the cowling or the wheel well here, so they're not visible. So once these are mounted, the next step would be to join the wing, the wing's outer sections to the center section, and I will obviously have to wait to do the retracts once they're in, which I don't think will be a problem if I put the wings together. It's all in the center section, so we'll proceed with mounting the servos. I drilled the holes for the servo screws. I added a little bit of CA into the holes. We'll let that cure, and we'll mount the servos. And the next step would be to join the outer wing sections to the center wing. I have the servos mounted, and next step will be adding the spar to the center section. It slides in through its opening, and then I have to make sure both sides have equal length from side to side. I'll do that. And then in the center here, it's like right there's a pre-drilled hole where I have to drill 2 millimeter hole and screw that in, and then same thing for the wings. Once it's in place here, is another pre-drilled hole down in here somewhere I'll have to find, and then drill another hole, screw it in place, and then, but obviously before I join the two, connect the servo leads for the flaps and ailerons. Okay, I have the spar inserted and measured equal lengths on both sides. It's like 6 3/8 on both sides. What I showed you a minute ago, the hole to screw the spar in, I showed the bottom of the wing, which is actually wrong. There's a pre-drilled hole at the top of the wing, so I need to drill a 5/64 inch hole into the spar, screw it in, and then same for the wing, outer wings, and then connect servo leads. All right, the hardware for the plane, you know, they have bolts and stuff in various bags. This particular bag looked like it could be for the wing. All the instructions say is 3 by 15 millimeter screws. So I got three screws out of here that were 15 millimeters long. Me personally, I think they could have marked the bags a little better, but again, that's just me. Have the screws here. Get the hole here. So we'll drill the hole and mount the spar to the center section. It would help if we had a better drill bit. Let's try this again. I have another drill bit. Alright, holes drilled. Get a Phillips screwdriver. But that one screw wouldn't go in flush with the top of the wing, so I changed out screws. Now this one's fits better. The next step is repeat the process for the outboard wings. I do believe this time the mounting bolts are on the bottom side of the wing, and we'll connect the servo leads, drill the holes. I got ahead of myself a little bit. I almost forgot I have these wooden dowels that need to be glued in to the center section, front and rear, on both sides, and then when the wing slides on, the outer wing slides on, those will match up here, and the spar here. So I'll glue these in next. Doing a dry fit of these dowels. I have 3 that are snug. But this fourth one, I think they put the wrong dowel in. It's a little bit way loose. Just eyeballing it, it looks like it's a tad bit loose or smaller. So I want to figure out what to do for this one. But I will sand the edges on the one side, make it more round, so when I join the two wings together, or two halves, it might go in a little bit easier. So I'll glue these in, make sure they're centered or 90 degrees up and down, left and right, and then do the servos, figure that one out, and put the wings together. Okay, what I did, I just knocked off the edges on the dowels. I already have these CA'd in, but what I did, I have this 90-degree builder triangle from Habaco. But anyways, got the glued in, then I just made sure it was 90 degrees all around. So hopefully when I join the wings together, the holes would be lined up and good to go. I'll do the other side, and for the dowel that is a little bit too loose, I might try some Teflon tape, plumber's tape. Put it around there, make it snug, and glue it in. So see how that goes. I have all the dowels glued in place now. I did put Teflon tape, plumber's tape, around that one dowel. That seemed to do the trick. Now I want to connect the servo leads, which I already did. The short one coming out of the wing, that's the aileron. I have a extension for the aileron to come out the center of the top center of the wing, center wing. I have these servo extension clips. I used to put heat shrink around these, which worked, but if I needed to change something out or whatever, it was kind of a pain. But these clips really come in handy. So all you do is snap it in place, make sure the wires go into the little slots, the clips go on the outside of the servo leads. And we'll do same thing for this one. Push it on, make sure it's in place. And now I want to, I will pull these in a little bit. I want to slide the wing on. I think I'm going to have to run that clip around the wheel well here. I think that's good. So this will be aileron. Let me put some tape for aileron. Slide these in. And any accent. Maybe I won't need this extension on once it's all together. Alright. Might have to sand these dowels down a little bit to get them to fit into the next hole, or slightly enlarge the hole in the center section. So let me do that and I'll be back. Alright, so what I did, got an X-Acto knife, and I just went around, stuck it in, turned it a little bit just to open up the holes just a little bit, and excess aileron lead I put back into the wing here. And now it fits together nicely. And I was wrong again. The hole to mount the wing, or the screw mount, is on top right here. So I'll do the other side the same fashion. Then I will drill the hole as I did the center section and mount the wings. Probably will end up taking this lead off. I needed it to get the length, or the lead through the center wing up. Got the aileron, outer flap. This one's the inner flap. The ailerons, I will probably put the white harness on, and then the inner section servos for the flaps, I'll do a white harness. In the outer sections, I'll do a white harness on those leads. I think that will work. Okay, I have the servo leads joined together with the clips on both sides. The wings are joined together. Haven't drilled the hole yet into the spar. This side has a good fit, but this side is a tiny gap, and I think it's flush on the ends, but in the center there's a tiny bit of a gap. Before I drill this side, I want to see if I can get this to have a better fit. And I have the wires. Actually, I might try to get this wire on both sides to the front part of the wheel well. Other than that, the wing is just about done, except for the retracts and obviously the control horns and rods. Okay, I have the wing together. I had my first screwdriver slipped, punctured a hole. So I might just put some clear tape over that. Really didn't like the way this side came together. There is a little gap, but I couldn't get it any closer. I don't like the way these screw into the spar. It had a little brown tube that this went through, but I really don't like that setup. I might take it apart and put some CA through here, but we'll see how it goes. I have my aileron leads. I have the center flaps and the outer wing flaps. I cleared the wires, servo cables. What I did, I had one go up this way, and then I just pushed the other wire that was coming up through the top here underneath the spar. Retracts is next. Again, those are on order, and we'll be in for another week and a half or so. But I'm not liking the way those connect.